Chapter 3. How to present a literature review. Lead-in. The literature review is intended to critically present the available literature which is relevant to the research topic. The student should review and analyze the existing literature to provide a better understanding of the subject. It serves to showcase the depth of knowledge the student has about the topic and exhibit his or her skills to critically evaluate and present the currently available literature. It provides the reader with a better understanding of the available methods, the advantages and limitations of those methods, and their utility in specific settings. It helps in rationalizing your choice of methods or procedures for the study. The use of literature review vary greatly among different disciplines, and that the students need to consult his or her advisor to see what the conventions are in particular discipline. It thus locates gaps in knowledge and reviews areas where original research can be done. This is how one finds a research question. Objectives. Students are expected to know what a literature review is and its significance. Learn to locate the key points or issues in a text. Learn to summarize and combine sources and what to do when sources disagree. Note the 3 patterns of tense usage in citation. Tasks. Task 1. Number 1. Locating the key points or issues in a text. When preparing to write an essay, you may be concerned with only one aspect of a text. So, your key points should relate only to the topic you are examining. Suppose you are preparing an essay on the application of DNA research to the development of vaccines. What information do you think will be relevant to research? Read carefully the following text and underline the relevant parts. What is your answer to the question? The suggested answer is the second paragraph starting with, "Now the genetic code of the plague bacterium has been read successfully by scientists. A total 465 million letters of DNA. Do you agree?" The first paragraph is mainly about the history of the plague and disasters it has caused. So, you may think the information is also critical since it highlights the social benefits of such research. However, if you examine the keywords in the essay title again, such as application, DNA research, and vaccines, you will agree that the initial paragraph seems to be less relevant to the student's present research. Task 2 will help to learn to make notes to identify the key points. 2. Making notes to identify the key points for your purpose. Study the following example and pay special attention to the key points in italic. Try to make notes from them. Sample note is as follows. British women live longer than men. 79, 74. Reasons. New research suggests immune system. Thymus, T cells. Women have more T cells than men. Better protection. Let's take a look at the sample note and compare it with the original sentences in italic. We can find that those key points presented by the paragraph have been all set down briefly as notes. The note may help us easily memorize the key information that we have read in a rather long text. With the help of the note, we can recall that now British women are expected to live longer than men. The average lifespan for the two groups are 79 and 74 respectively. What are the reasons? New research suggests an answer lies in the immune system. The scientists have found that the thymus is the organ which produces the T cells, which actually combat illnesses, and women appear to have more T cells in their bodies than men of the same age. That gives women better protection. You can put all these types of notes together in one file. When you want to remember where you have found sources for a particular issue, you can search keywords in the file. This is useful for dissertations, where you might have hundreds of sources. Task 3. 3. Using the skill of summarizing. In reviewing literature, students often have to summarize part of a book or journal article. The summary may be just 1 or 2 sentences to explain the main idea of the article and perhaps compare it with another summarized text, or it might be necessary to include much more detail. In other words, a summary can range from 1 to 2% of the original to more than 50%. A good summary should not distort the original in main features, and expressions should be clear. Students need to follow a series of steps to summarize until the process becomes more automatic. A. Read the text carefully and check key vocabulary. B. Underline or highlight the key points, main ideas. C. Make notes of these, taking care to use your own words, paraphrase. D. Write the summary using the notes, reorganizing the order of the ideas where necessary. E. Check the summary to make sure no important points, ideas have been omitted or distorted. Key points. Next, you need to pay special attention to the key points. The first is on how to combine different sources in a literature review. 1. Combining sources. Most essays require the writer to read more than one book or article. The differences between the ideas of different writers may be the focus of the essay. The writer needs to know the ways of presenting such contrasting views, especially when they seem to disagree. Below are 2 sources used for an essay titled "Should Genetically Modified Foods Have a Role in Future Agriculture?" Read the sources first, then try to draft the essay extract. Here is the model essay extract. Read carefully and answer the following questions. Model writing. Integrating sources. It has been claimed that GM technology is no different from breeding technologies, which have been practiced by man for thousands of years. Source A states that this process is similar to natural selection and remarks, such procedures are now labeled interfering with nature. On the other hand, Source B considers that, although GM technology could bring considerable benefits in medicine and agriculture, it is quite different from traditional process of selection. He believes that crossing the species barrier is a dangerous step, in that there is insufficient knowledge of the long-term results of such developments. In the essay extract, the writer uses a mixture of direct quotes and summaries of arguments. A. Find an example of each. B. What phrases does the writer use to mark the point where he moves from dealing with source A to source B? C. List all the phrases used to introduce summaries. The starting sentence with red underlines is a summary of source A and source B. The sentence inside quotation marks is a direct quote. Such procedures are now labeled interfering with nature. For question B, the linking phrase the writer uses is, on the other hand, the phrases it has been claimed that source A states that, source B considers that, he believes that, are used to introduce summaries. When crafting an extended passage, which contains numerous elements of information and analysis, the student should make sure these points follow each other in logical order. Sometimes an outline is needed so that they can make sure they have created a logical and rhetorical effective structure for their presentation of information. The second key point is on how to avoid plagiarism. You have committed plagiarism when you copy a phrase, a sentence, or a longer passage from a source and do not give credit to the original author. Summarize or paraphrase someone else's ideas without acknowledging the source. Allow someone else to write significant portions of your document for you without admitting to the help. And forget to place quotation marks around another writer's words. To avoid the problem of accidental plagiarism, get into the habit of clearly documenting the words and ideas you obtain from other sources during the research phase. Now, there are sites such as CNKI, where you can scan your text for plagiarism. You need to consult your advisor about the sites. Language focus. Now, let's move to the section of language focus. According to John M. Swales, there are 3 patterns of tense usage in citations. Past tense is usually used in reference to single studies. In the given example, the investigation is conducted by a single researcher, Jones, in 1987. Present perfect tense can be mainly found in reference to research areas. The first sentence in pattern 2 starts with, "There have been several investigations into," indicating the causes of illiteracy, becomes a research area which have involved different researchers. In pattern 3, present tense tends to be used to show the current state of knowledge. Neither a single scholar nor a group of scholars. Now read again to deepen our understanding of the general differences. 3 patterns of tense usage in citation. Number 1, past. Reference to single studies. For example, Jones investigated the causes of literacy. Number 2, present perfect. Reference to areas of inquiry. For example, there have been several investigations into the causes of literacy. Number 3, present. Reference to state of current knowledge. For example, The causes of literacy are complex. Sometimes the present tense choice is called the citational present and is also used with famous or important sources. Plato argues that Confucius says, the Bible says, the Constitution states. Comparable options exist in the subordinate clause. Pay special attention to the linking verbs in the subordinate clauses in the following two sentences. Jones found that illiteracy was correlated most closely with poverty. Jones found that literacy is correlated mostly closely with poverty. The first sentence shows that the writer believes that the finding should be understood within the context of the single study. In the second, the writer implies that a wider generalization is possible. Here comes the summary. A literature review can, number 1, provide the reader with a clear picture of the research development so far by detailing the relationship of previous works to the current state of understanding of the issue. 2. Explain the relationship of previous works to the present study. 3. Prepare for and justify the research questions or hypothesis of the present study. 4. Point out the areas of original research so as to avoid the appearance of repetition. 5. Add authoritative support for the present study. It is a form of quoting from authorities to validate the present research.